Breaking news tonight on Evenings Lalate. The President of the United States holds bipartisan discussions about your fourth stimulus package. But the push is underway quietly to prepare for reconciliation. I'll examine how the multiple stimulus checks at issue under the fourth stimulus package are heating up, how they calculate, and how you would get them, whether you are looking at the Democrats in the Senate or the Democrats in the House. We'll go over the big numbers across the board. Meantime, great news from the White House about fourth stimulus as the White House responds to a series of comments from Jerome Powell and says, we need stimulus. We agree. The president's press secretary also responds to questions of whether the president's really doing bipartisan negotiations or is just preparing for reconciliation. A new video out from the White House tonight of the White House actually attempting to look like it's doing bipartisan negotiations, but who's doing the talking? Is it just one person or other people? Meantime, great news across the board for other breaking developing details and exclusives you're only going to hear on this channel. The $10,000 EIDL grant from 2020 is being paid this week. Exclusive only heard on this channel and even for July applicants. Next, student loan debt forgiveness of $50,000 could be announced as early as the end of this week. You're only hearing this on this channel. Then a series of new business grants went live, and my veterans, who I told you several weeks ago, if you didn't get a stimulus check so far for the third stimulus package, it's coming this Wednesday. Well, it is. Direct deposit. As we go into a big night of Evenings LA, the excitement's unfolding. Whether it's student loan debt, $50,000, EIDL grant, monthly stimulus checks, or more, I have all the details for you. I'm so excited for you. Let's get to it. Let's get right now to Evenings LA. Big night of Evenings LA this is. We got coverage of the third stimulus check, the fourth stimulus monthly stimulus check, the EIDL grant, and the $50,000 of student loan debt forgiveness. And that's just in the first 10 seconds. How are ya? We're going to go low, like the loan guy said last night. We go low. We got the whole low down tonight. Hope you're good and safe. Hope you had a good morning Monday and hope you had a beautiful weekend. Thank you for joining me on Evenings LA. If you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. The link's at the top of the chat and also in the pinned comment. If you've not subscribed, it's our 1-year anniversary this month. We're trying to get to 400,000 subscribers, so give us a subscribe and like this video. Don't forget to hit that like button. Viewers in the taped shows have been great at hitting the like, but the live shows, you've been forgetting to hit that like button, so please do it. All right, let's get to the breaking details. First, that third stimulus check, if you're a veteran, congratulations, is coming by direct deposit this Wednesday. If you've not got to that stimulus check, I told you that was going to be the reality several weeks ago, and it is April 14th. Then, if you have still waiting for that mail check, give it some more time. They're about 2 weeks late, and if you don't eventually get the stimulus checks, you're going to have to request them by tax return. All right, let's go to fourth stimulus. Fourth stimulus got an incredible push today, and that push came in a two-prong approach. It started on Sunday. When Jerome Powell appeared on 60 Minutes, the CBS taped broadcast, and said, we are going to continue to support this economy until it's fully recovered. Wow. Now, these are not new comments by Jerome Powell, just the same comments he said before. But he was asked, there's an economic boom underway, isn't there? Yes, there is, he said. There's jobs being generated right now. Yes, there are. So why continue to stimulate this economy? Because it has to be fully recovered, said Jerome Powell. This is huge for purposes of fourth stimulus, because remember, the big issue at fourth stimulus is not how or how much or how soon. The issue is speed and doing it while the economy is not rebounded. And that push got an incredible line of support from the White House today as well. Remember, economic rebounding cannot be finalized before stimulus is going out the door because you won't get it. And jobs can't be restored until, if jobs are restored before you get stimulus, then we have an issue. And that issue came at head today when the White House was asked about that 60 Minutes interview with Jerome Powell. She was asked, Jerome Powell said the economy's rebounding, so do we need stimulus? She said, oh, yes, we do. We're not fully restored. Let's listen into that interview.
President Biden has made very clear that two of his top priorities for the infrastructure plan is to create jobs and to stimulate the economy. Last night on 60 Minutes, Jerome Powell said he and other forecasters already see that happening. So I wonder if the optimistic outlook changes the president's priorities in the plan at all and offers more wiggle room for negotiation in certain areas.
Do you mean to we don't need as many jobs?
The goal of the plan is to create jobs and stimulate the economy. And they're saying that's already happening, which is a great thing. So is he willing to scale back on some of these items because we're already seeing growth?
Well, I unfortunately, I regularly watch 60 Minutes. I did not see the whole episode, so I don't know the whole context of his remarks. But I will say that part of what economists feel is that we are still behind, that we need to still do more. Because if you look at our last jobs report, we were still about 8.4 million jobs in the red, that we needed to create, that we needed to Americans we needed to put back to work. There's still parts of the American population, high levels of unemployment among African Americans, Latino Americans, Asian Americans that we need to work to address. This is definitely a jobs package, hence the American Jobs Plan. But what it also does is it helps modernize, invest in our nation's infrastructure, and do that in a way that will help us compete over the long term and help us have jobs for the future. So there are many objectives of this package, but certainly we feel there is more work to be done to put more Americans back to work, and we are not in the clear on that front.
Huge, great news, and incredibly strong, wonderful comments from the press secretary, basically saying economic rebounding is occurring, but it's not complete, and we need to still provide stimulus. Let's look at that stimulus. If they got this bill out the door in July through December, wow, look at these numbers, $12,000 a person, $8,400 a person, enormous sums of money. How does this happen? Well, there's two different paths. Both the House Democrats and the Senate Democrats want you to have multiple monthly stimulus checks. The House Democrats want you to have stimulus checks starting now and continuing to pandemic plus 1 year. The Senate Democrats want you to have stimulus checks from the time it becomes law to December. Who are these people? Well, the senators are really the leaders of the Democratic Party. They are the core bread and butter of the Democratic leadership. The House Democrats are mostly progressives and more junior members of Congress. What are the amounts? Well, the House members want to pay $2,000 for the first month and $1,000 thereafter. The senators don't give an amount, but for the monthly check. But word on the street is the senators want to pay $1,400 a month or $2,000 a month. That would amount to $8,400 for an individual from July to December, or $12,000 for an individual from July to December. Who gets this stimulus and who qualifies for the stimulus? This is you. This is you. So if you're a single individual, if you are a person who makes less than $75,000, if you are a married couple, if you're on SSI or SSDI, this is you. And why these comments from the White House were so incredibly positive is because it showed the support to provide stimulus. This is what you need to know. The bill is a two-step process, reconciliation. And the two-step process takes about 2 months. And now is April. You want to get this bill done now, as soon as possible. Leader Schumer and Speaker Pelosi say a July vote. That's fine. I prefer it a month earlier, but you want this bill done now because Congress goes on recess in July, and then they're gone to about September. So you want this bill done quickly. That's the first thing. Second, the president's fine doing one more week or 5 more days of attempted bipartisanship, but it's not going to happen. Those Republicans don't want to do climate, which is in the fourth stimulus package. Before they get to anything else, they don't want to do climate, and the president's demanding climate. So that what's important to understand is that climate's your e-ticket for that stimulus check. The bill would go by reconciliation process, and during the vote-a-rama is when they would put it in there. Now, Ultimately, your push, Purple Power, is to get this started for reconciliation as soon as possible. But clearly, the questions across the board have been, is the president really just setting up reconciliation, or is he trying to really do this by bipartisanship? Today, the press secretary is asked, are these chats really fake, and that he's just setting up for reconciliation? Answer, yes. But the response, of course, was no. Let's listen to that question and answer comment.
Some of them we've signed through executive orders, and we'll continue to communicate with these groups about what is most effective.
Just quickly on infrastructure, the president is having this bipartisan meeting today, but what is your message to some congressional Republicans who have expressed skepticism about whether the White House is authentically interested in negotiating here, given how things played out with the COVID relief bill?
Well, I would say that the president, you don't use the president of the United States' time multiple times over, including 2 infrastructure meetings, bipartisan infrastructure meetings he's already had, or the meeting today, if he did not want to authentically hear from the members attending about their ideas about how to move forward this package in a bipartisan manner.
So is he willing to negotiate on the scope and the price tag, or just on ways to pay for this?
He absolutely is. He looks forward to hearing their ideas, and his objective is to find a way forward where we can modernize our nation's infrastructure so we can compete with China. He's proposed a way to pay for it, which is what he thinks the responsible thing is to do, and he hopes they'll come to the table with ideas.
And that is actually contradicted by the president's own words last week. The president, during his press briefing, said to the American people, doing nothing is not an option to him. The Republicans must do something. Well, they responded back, we're doing nothing on climate. We will not give you a penny for climate. So clearly, there's a mixed message here. And the mixed message is the president is not willing to budge on climate, which sets us up for reconciliation. The reconciliation process is very clear. During the 2-step process, the bill provisions that would provide monthly stimulus checks would be put in during the vote-a-rama. During that 2-day event, when the bill lands in the Senate, if the House members don't put it in ahead of time, those senators would put it in then. 21 to 50 Democratic senators want to put it in there. And they need to do it as soon as possible while the economic data is not good. But is the president really trying to just set this up for recon? Of course he is. Today, the president's team released this video of him having those bipartisan negotiations with Republican leadership. Well, look at what's going on and listen carefully. Do you hear anyone else talking except the president? No. All he's doing is repeating what he wants and having people on little tiny Zoom screens look at him and sit there and listen.
Manufacturing leaders around the country and all over the world on the screen is to talk about how we strengthen our domestic semiconductor industry and secure America's supply chain. This is an issue that has broad support in the United States Congress. We talked about whether or not we're doing anything in terms of bipartisanly. Well, we are. Both sides of the aisle are strongly supportive of what we're proposing, and where I think we can really get things done for the American people. In fact, today I received a letter from 23 senators, bipartisanly, and 42 House members, Republican and Democrats, supporting the CHIPS for America program. Now let me quote from the letter.
Needless to say, what's important to understand is getting this bill to the Senate sooner rather than later is needed. The new economic data across the board is a mixture of bad and good economic data. And if there is bad economic data, that will get that stimulus check out the door from you. Last Thursday's unemployment claims, 744,000. New unemployment claims numbers, horrible. A very bad economic number. The prior week was less. It showed a growth of new economic numbers. The continuing unemployment claim numbers, also not good. Supporting more stimulus. And California and New York saw a resurgence of new unemployment claims, supporting more stimulus across the board. So this is data that supports stimulus. For all that data, there's always the rebound where people are saying this economy is coming back. It's already back. And this is the strongest jobs markets as ever. You want this bill in the Senate as soon as possible because ultimately, whether it's new UI data or continuing UI data or small business closures, that bad economic data could dissipate. Here's what you need to know. Purple Power, you got to do your thing. You got to get the message loud and clear and share this video on social media, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Hashtag MSC, hashtag Purple Power. You have to tag those congressional leaders who are Democrats in both the Senate and the House saying, get this done by recon. Why? July is just around the corner. This is April. It takes 2 months to do a recon from beginning to end. It's a two-step process, tow truck and then tow hitch. It's a 2-month process. They got to start it ASAP. You can't let this bill sit around and then have it get finalized in September. The economy may be rebounded by then. It's too hard to really gauge this economy. I know that there's a resurgence of the virus across the board, and we saw that data today. Michigan about to potentially go on lockdown. We have seen resurgence of the virus in different states. Today showed the worst numbers of the virus cases since July of last year. But we can't always hope that there's bad data that supporting stimulus checks. We always have to be fearful that good economic data comes first, and that's why you have to push. But guess what? Coming up after this, I have more exciting details about student loan debt forgiveness and free grant money coming. Stay with me. I'll be back in about 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LA Daily for the excitement of the new LA live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LA at 9 a.m. Home LA returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LA at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LA Late. And the excitement continues right now as Evenings LA continues. Boy, what a big night it is. I'm so excited for you, and we got a double dose of videos coming up after this as well. There's a double header at 10 o'clock and then 10:30. Wow, and one is an anniversary special. Don't want to miss it. Join me at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. That's 7 o'clock on the West Coast or 9 o'clock Central. It's a doubleheader, 2 shows, 30 minutes each. Go into the first show. At the end of the first show, the show will teleport you to the second show automatically. You don't have to do anything. Just put your hands up and just wait, and bam, it teleports you to the second video automatically. Evenings LA is now continuing with big exciting news about your fourth stimulus, your third stimulus, and now your student loan debt forgiveness. And wow, that EIDL grant. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Also, like this video. It really helps in the algorithm rankings. And if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Power, Purple Hawk, Purple Calcino VIP. The link's at the top of the chat and in the pinned comment. You want to become a member because all these things are coming live, all these bills. Also, I'm in the live chat, so say hi. Hi, how are you? He's there. I see him. Let's get to the details. EIDL grant. I have a lot of surprises and exclusives you're only going to hear on this channel. First, if you applied for an EIDL grant in 2020, you're getting it. Yes. Whether you're low income or non-low income. Yes. So what are they doing? They're first doing non-low income, and they're not doing it in chronological order. I can exclusively report. If you see 2 businesses in the same low-income community, one applied in March and one applied in July, they're likely doing the July applicant first. No joke. They're doing things completely random, not in chronological order, not in the order in which you applied, and sometimes not in the order of low income versus non-low income. Sometimes they don't even know what it is. So they're literally just throwing it up and seeing where it lands. So watch your inbox. They're going all the low income first, and then they're going to do the non-low income. and the time frame to respond is very short, so don't miss it. Next, there's a new grant that went live at sba.gov, and that is the Shuttered Venue Grant. Go apply for it if it qualifies for you. It's not just for venues. It went live on Friday and then crashed. Then the restaurant grant, about to go live as well, and the PPP grant is now live additionally. A lot of exciting, great details. Wow. And then we get to student loan debt forgiveness. Oh my goodness. I mean, this is just deliciousness that no one saw coming. You know, in October of last year, I told you that as soon as the president was elected, Leader Schumer said to the president to do student loan debt forgiveness of $50,000. The president said no. He said you can do it by executive order. He says I don't want to do it. And so they met with the president, him and Ms. Warren, month after week after month after week, and the president kept on saying no. But for reasons no one really particularly knows, about 2 weeks ago, the president finally gave in and finally said, you know what? Okay, I will prepare a deal memo. I will have my education secretary prepare a deal memo to determine the legal validity of forgiving student loan debt by executive order. That memo is due this Friday. Yes, it's due this Friday. Can the president forgive student loan debt by executive order? Elizabeth Warren says he can. She says he can. She says Obama did it and Biden and Trump did it. He can do it as well. And if she's right, which she usually is, that announcement is likely coming at the end of this week. Elizabeth Warren is the subject of several videos on the subject. This was the video in which she said he has the legal authority to do it. This is the single most important video about the subject matter, about $50,000 of student loan debt. I'll show it to you in 1 second, but here first you need to know is who and what and how this applies. Everything is a yes. Everything's a yes. Is this for current students and past students? Yes. Rich people and poor people? Yes. Anyone who has a student loan debt? It presumes it is both private and publicly held debt. Is it automatic? Yes. Would I have to do anything? No. That's a no, actually. Everything is literally a yes across the board. And that's why you want to be so tuned into this channel this week, because it's likely to be announced somewhere around Thursday or Friday. Elizabeth Warren first called it, and she said he has the legal authority. Let's listen into what she has to say about that subject.
Loan debt means there are lots of people who aren't moving out from their parents' homes, lots of people who aren't buying their own homes, and one of the other things the data shows, lots of people who are not starting their own businesses. And all of those things hold back our economy. And I make that point because I'm sure there are lots of folks who are on this call tonight who don't have student loan debt. But here's the deal. Even if you don't have student loan debt, you will be helped by seeing student loan debt canceled because it will help our economy. This is one of those things that doesn't have to go through Congress. The authority is already there in law for the president and his team, the administration, the Secretary of Education, to cancel out this student loan debt. And President Obama used it to cancel some student loan debt. President Trump used it to cancel some student. President Biden used it. If he would cancel $50,000 in student loan debt, it would make an enormous difference in the lives of tens of millions of Americans and help build our entire nation a stronger future going forward. So, as you know, I'm all in on this one. And if we could persuade the president, we could do this one fast.
And it looks like they're going to be able to persuade the president. In that video released earlier today, the president didn't look like he's a very persuadable person because all he did was talk. Let's listen to how he tried to persuade others about his position.
A great engine again. We led the world in the middle of the 20th century. We led the world toward the end of the century. We're going to lead the world again. We're going to lead it again in the 21st century. We have the best minds in the country. Many of them are on the screen right now. And they know better than anyone that our competitiveness depends on where you invest and how you invest. For too long as a nation, we haven't been making the big, bold investments we need to outpace our global competitors.
For first time ever, you really see the president's impact on how he talks with people during negotiations. Elizabeth Warren and Chuck Schumer have tried to get that $50,000 of student loan debt through the president and his team for a while. And you see in this negotiations, he's really just reading from a script in a binder to a whole screen of people on a Zoom chat. Not a lot of negotiations, not a lot of impromptu-ness, simply just reading a prepared script to a lot of people listening in. Ultimately, the push has appeared to have worked by Warren and Schumer, and we'll see those details later this week. Very exciting news across the board. Not such exciting, great news, however, in fact, not good news at all, came from that new data that shows a resurgence of the virus across the country. Even as we reach the highest number of vaccinations per day, we're seeing the highest growth of COVID cases since summer of last year. Michigan is now facing lockdown. Let's listen to what Dr. Fauci had to say today.
We are doing apropos of the numbers that were just mentioned by Andy and by Dr. Walensky.
So let me just add in terms of locations. But before I do that, I would say we were all extremely encouraged, as I think parents around the country were, by the reporting of that information. And indeed, to Dr. Fauci's point of having this being able to be done by the fall, that's a very good.
Once FDA has put forward the authorization, the ACIP will immediately follow, and we're working to make sure that there is actually no delay there. We also simultaneously have been working through figuring out what the best channels are for these adolescents. As you know, Andy, many of them and their parents would like to see these vaccines.
Period. You were really quite well protected. So I think I'd be careful. You're going to read that reprint over and over again, and I can tell you it is really a little bit confusing. The only thing that isn't confusing is 2 doses are really good.
So across the board, it was relatively a flat day on Wall Street amidst a lot of confusing news. Great economic booming news from one side of the economy, troubling news on the job front, strange bad news from COVID cases resurging, and yet Wall Street is relatively flat. This is what you need to know as you go into the evening tonight. First, the push is underway for forced stimulus. It's not a done deal. It's not a done deal. You need to push because those multiple stimulus checks are an add-on, an amendment that the Senate Democrats are going to put in there when they have the bill in their hands. They need to get the bill in their hands, and they need to get it there in their hands by reconciliation. So you need to tag elected officials, Senate Democrats, Senate House Democrats. Contact those cabinet members that appeared in that video seen over the weekend. Contact them, said, got to do this by recon. Don't wait. Don't wait. Every day we wait is a troubling factor. It's important to understand that July is just around the corner. It takes 2 months to do a recon, so you want to get it started as soon as possible. Then once we got it starting by recon, we can breathe. We can breathe easily because for the first time ever on this channel, you're seeing the opportunity for an enormous payday. And the enormous payday has a likelihood of happening. The only thing that could derail it is bipartisan agreement by the president with the Republicans, which doesn't look like it's happening, or the resurgence of this economy to rebound and boom faster than anyone saw. That's not happening yet, but you don't want to risk it by the summer. Also, third stimulus checks that veterans haven't gotten coming this Wednesday. That $10,000 EIDL email, watch for that. It'll be landing in your inbox throughout the next few days and weeks. The shuttered venue grant now live. The restaurant grant about to go live. The PPP grant relive again. And finally, the excitement about student loan debt. It's just a few seconds away. Thank you for joining me on a big night of Evenings Lalate across the board. Coming up next on this channel, I will have a lot of deliciousness for you to enjoy. Starting at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, which is 7 o'clock on the West Coast, or 9 o'clock Central. You'll see a double header of 2 shows, 30 minutes on both. So jump into the first one, and it'll take you automatically to the second one. It'll feature a 2-month anniversary special of this channel from back in the day. And some Javita Late excitement has been unraveled as well today on the channel. If you missed that one, oh boy. Stay informed, stay focused, keep on smiling. I look forward to seeing you in that live chat tonight. There won't be any lone guy. But I gotta say, last night the chat was even more entertaining than the show. The comments were just incredible. And yes, I still do have that shirt, the lone guy shirt. So yeah, you never know when the lone guy will make an appearance on this channel. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe as we approach our 1-year anniversary. I want you to be part of this family. Like this video. Don't forget to like. And become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. As we go into a big evening, stay positive, stay focused, stay motivated, and stay informed. It's important to be part of this process together. And as we go into a big night, we're going to have a lot of fun because the fun is not finished yet. Stay with LA.